Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about varnishing. And before I even get to that point, I have to make sure everything's been dry for a while. Also make sure I've done my sides, and even when I paint my sides, I paint around the back side even more. That way, if it ever extended out, it would have paint continued around. And I haven't done the wiring or the signing or anything yet, but what I'm doing is I'm placing this on just some containers. I keep containers to keep it up, so when I varnish, it's set inside, and that way when I varnish around and kind of go underneath, because I take the varnish around and under, and that way it takes care of all of it. So right now I've got brainstorming, the 4 pieces, conversations ready to go. They're signed, they're completely finished. The sides are done on the brainstorming pieces. I haven't put those in floater frames yet. That will happen later. So what I do is I take, and this is just me, but I take gloss and matte varnish and I do a mix. And I even put it in a container and I call it mix. So if I am wanting it to be more matte, then of course I'll have more matte in it. If I want a little gloss, then I'll put more gloss. But I don't like it totally gloss, so I kind of mix that up. And I have an old cheap brush that I just put varnish brush on it. That way I don't ever use it for paint. It is only used for varnish. And when I get ready to do this, I've got my mix, and I'm going to just kind of do this and spread it around. It doesn't have to be even, but I'm going to make sure I cover everything, and then don't let it just drip on the sides. That can cause other issues. So make it an even coat. I go even one way, and then the next time I'll go even the other way, and you can see from the side if you've covered everything. And then on the back side, what I'm going to do that I can't see right now is I will go back here and make sure that I've covered everything, make sure there's no drips. I go underneath the canvas to get the sides and underneath that. So I hope you can see that. I hope I'm not in the way, but I go underneath it too on the sides. And if you have to move your containers a little bit to accomplish that, that's fine. But I'll make sure there's no runs. You don't want any drips and runs on the sides with the varnish. So I'm going to bring some of that extra over here. Again, it's just a thin coat of varnish right now. And then when I let this dry, I'll kind of let it dry about 2 or 3 hours and then come back and do the other coat. And if it drips down, you just take your brush and wipe it again, smooth it out. That way you double check, make sure you have no drips. I'm going to move some of that over here. Even though when I get through, I'll be doing this way. And when I go back and do the second layer, I'll make sure it all flows that way. But I'm just trying to make sure I don't have any drips that will extend to the sides. Hopefully this helps. And once this dries after a few hours or even overnight, sometimes I may not be able to get right to it anyway, so it might dry overnight, which is even better. And then I do the second layer the next day. And then when you get through, it's going to dry clear. Even if you end up having a drip or something, don't worry about it. It's on the side, so it's not a huge thing. I just try not to ever have that happen. You can see it kind of came off my containers, but I'm holding it up and making sure I've covered everything. And then I'm going to move those over so that it is setting up on the wood part underneath. And it comes off. That way you just put it right back on. I'm not on a flat surface because I've got the bed that I'm using. And there we go. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. Double checking it from the side to see. You don't really want to go back over it after it kind of starts drying, but that's it. And then I'll wash this with soap and water and then get ready for the next one. But before I even start, I wet the varnish brush. Hope that helps. See you on the next one.